Welcome to FUEL. FUEL stands for Finance, Unity, Empowerment, Legacy. Join us today as Dr. Jackie, Dennis, and Mac have part one of their conversation on the importance of health to your wealth and to your future.
Which
Okay.
actually presents a beautiful segue into how the current health conditions relate to the importance of making sure that our financial houses are in order.
Yes, sir.
That is so true.
Yeah, so I don't think on the average financial podcast, broadcast, whatever you want to call these things, enough attention is actually paid to taking care of our bodies, our temples, because what good is even, accumulating wealth if you're not healthy enough to do it or to enjoy the fruit of your labor.
I hate to break it, but that was really interesting thing you said, because Dr. Jackie and I have a client who has all this money, but won't pay an extra $10 to get a doctor to come and check on him. Not so much a doctor, but it was something else, right, Jack? It was something they needed. Dr. Jackie was like, you got the money, do it. We have the money's there for a reason. It's not necessarily there just to create a legacy all the time. Sometimes you got to use it for you. And she didn't want to use it for her. And I tell this to people all the time, you really have to be careful about giving people stuff. Because you give people stuff, they'll eat for a day, they'll play for a day, they'll spend for a day. But tomorrow they're coming back. And when you're gone, they'll go through your money in 5 minutes. It has no emotional meanings to them at all. So you have to plan things for people. And I have an insurance policy that allows me to divvy out my death benefit over 10 years. But I'm teaching my daughter now. I'm not waiting until I'm gone for her to find out she's going to get the money once every 10 years. We sit down and we talk about, what do you do when that minute comes? Where are my papers at? What bank accounts do I have? How do you get this money? Not luckily, but I only have one child. And, I know that the funds are going to her. And I have a house. And I think about the house all the time. And I'm like, you know what? Don't worry about the house. Don't worry about paying it off. Don't let nobody harass you. If you want it, then you can take it. If you don't want it, let me know. I used to own 6 houses. And I asked my daughter, which one did she want when I was gone? And this is the conversations we have, because there's no sense in what happened to me while I was growing up. My family members would die. And I wouldn't even know till I got home from college. So I talked to her and she says, well, I want this house. So I got rid of all the rest of them. The financial crisis helped. But I only keep what she wants, because I'm at the point where I don't want that much. I just want to travel again, and that's it. I don't really want a whole lot. I don't want to take care of nobody else's children, but I have no problems teaching them how to take care of their own children.
Right.
Of course, that causes problems with me, because, I'm like, I don't think it's fair that child has a father or a mother. Why should I be, caught up in that? And I know a lot of men marry women with children. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about the financial responsibility. So I want my daughter to have what I've saved up for her. And I want whoever's, whatever your plan is. But like Dr. Jackie and I was talking to a client, you got to train these people. You can't, it's the lottery syndrome. and if you're not familiar with the lottery syndrome, let me tell you, most lottery winners are broke within 5 years. That's crazy. If you were making $50,000 a year and you live comfortably, you win a $20 million lottery, even if you got 10 million out of it, how are you broke in 5 years? It's because you ever heard of the term, your stomach is bigger than your eyes, or your eyes are bigger than your stomach.
Mhm.
You don't need a 44-room house. Now, I hate to say need because I like big houses. So I had to pepper that statement a little bit. But you got to realize that you got to buy assets, not the other word.
Liability.
Liability. You can't even say it. You can't even say it.
Yeah, I bought a lot of liabilities in my life, but once I sat down with the calculator and I figured out, wait a minute, I'm sending these people $400 a month. Okay, that was a long time ago, ladies and gentlemen. And when I get my bill and I look at how much I owe, only $333 came off of the price of what I owe. What happened to the other $67 or 60, whatever? So I called them up. Hey, I sent you 400. I want this number to be reduced by 400. They said taxes and interest.
That's it.
Taxes wasn't the big word. Interest was the big word. So I said taxes. She said, oh yeah, taxes on the money you borrow, because you borrow money to buy cars. I said, really? What about the interest? Oh, there's interest on the interest. And I said, I don't understand. Please explain that to me again. So when you buy a car, you get a loan. And the loan has an interest component. But now you're paying interest because you got a loan.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when she told me that, I was shocked, because at this point, I was learning about money. I was taking all kinds of financial courses to try to figure out why my $400 was $333. I said, wait, what kind of math is that? And luckily for me, I was a saver. So when she told me that, I paid that thing off. I said, no. Y'all not getting another extra dime out of me. And then I looked at my house, and was I depressed?
Sorry.
Jackie, you're disappearing.
I know, I'm sorry. I'm trying to.
I was going to say, is she in quicksand?
This is my last point, and then I'm gonna be quiet for a second. But
Sorry.
then I looked at my mortgage, and mortgage means till death do you part, or something crazy like that. And I'm probably gonna pay 3 or 4 times the value of my house by the time my 30 years is up.
Everybody.
The first 10 years was all interest. In the first 10 years, if you look at my monthly payment, was enough to pay the house off, because by the month times 12 times 10 was the price of the house. So the next 20 years, I'm gonna pay the same amount for the house 2 times. And I said, gosh, that's why I got rid of those other 5. Because I said, wait a minute. So instead of me thinking I'm a 6 millionaire, I am 18 million in debt. Now, I got a lot of real estate people who say I'm crazy, and I understand. This is just my experience. I'm not telling you not to buy. You got to live somewhere. But 18 million in debt, my rentals were not going to make that up, because they were rentals. They were not going to make that up. It made me look like I was making money, but the long game was I was not going to make any money. I was not going to make up what I was losing. And it was a sobering moment for me. And I started calculating the taxes over 30 years. That's another whole house payment or more. And then a friend of mine said to me, why do people buy things they can never own? I'm like, what are you talking about? You can never own a house. I know. On TV, they say pay your house off early. And on your friends say pay your mortgage down. There's mortgage payment companies out there. You still got to pay tax, baby. And that's a whole nother house payment. How do we get around that? We can't. The game has been here before we were born, and you can't beat the game. Some people win, or so they think. But I always look at one word. One thing I learned when I was on my financial quest was ROI. What is your real return on your investment?
Yeah.
You're real, not
You
what you
covered a whole circuit of information.
I'm hurt, Dr. Jackie. I'm hurt. I worked 30 years, 20-hour days, 7 days a week. I had other jobs where I worked 5 years, 2 years. So I put money in my Social Security account for at least 40 years, maybe 50. No, I started working when I was 19. So 41, 42 years of putting money into Social Security. Do you know they're going to tax my Social Security again? And if I wait till I'm 70, they're going to give me more money. 70, they know Black people die at 68. So they're like, what kind of game is this? They're going to actually tax my Social Security. Now, if you're not getting Social Security or SSI, you don't know what I'm talking about, because your financial advisor told you your 401k and your Social Security going to be enough for you to live off of. No, it ain't. They're going to tax your 401k. They're going to tax your Social Security. And if you go get a part-time job, they're going to subtract how much you made at their part-time job out of your Social Security. Dang. And you wonder why people in Florida are living off of cat food. It's a ridiculous, ridiculous system that there should be an age limit where you no longer have to pay. Well, I take that back, because there's somebody who just was president. They should tax him all the time. But anyway, so every time I turn around, everything I look at is taxed. They taxed me when I was born. They taxed me when I went to school. They taxed me when I got a job. They taxed me when I'm retired. They're going to tax me when I die.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. Which again, you know, when you take the weight of all that and then you bring it back into our health and mental well-being, that can create a lot of stress. And, you know, I'll speak transparently here. I think that a culmination of that system caught up with me in 2017, where all of a sudden I came up with these health challenges. The first thing was Bell's palsy. The second thing was a stomach ulcer, and those things culminated into triple bypass surgery, all basically within the same year. And for me, that was the wake-up call that we got to do something different, because I had my good job, you know, in the accounting arena, you know, working for a prestigious CPA firm, and you know, with all the perks and benefits of that, but also with the stress and the long hours that go along with, you know, trying to take care of my clients and at the same time be able to take care of my household. And I think that all of that just came together with the triple bypass being the trifecta of all of it. And that was really when I had to start thinking about, okay, I can't continue doing this job. I've got to start thinking outside the box as far as how am I going to be able to retire early, to be able to survive without even having the promise of being able to utilize Social Security or 401k, because it's not really beneficial for me to do that now. So it was about, how do you make it? How do you take the next 7 to 9 years of your life and be able to sustain and to live comfortably? That's really been my foray into what we're doing now on Fuel, to show that it can be done, by just making better decisions, thinking about what it is, thinking about that ROI. What is the real return on investment after you've paid taxes, after you paid interest, after you deal with insurances? What is the real return on investment if you max out your entire life? Are you really ahead? Are you even equal, or are you sorely behind? Which most people will find they are sorely behind. So everything that we're talking about here is what to do about that and maintain our health in the process. Dr. Jackie, you've been kind of quiet.
Well, it's kind of a cycle. So you say that we have to pay attention so we can maintain, but at the same time, we need to maintain so that we can, because one of the sayings that Dennis and I used to say a lot when talking to clients is that your health is the biggest buster of your wealth. And the impact that, what is it? There's a story we tell of this gentleman who came to us and was a really good saver. And he had 400 plus in his account. So when we were talking about this foundation and making sure your assets are secure and getting that concept in, his response, as probably many of yours who are listening to us, was, I'm good. I'm good. I'm a good saver. I got money. I'm fine. I'm good. And what happened was within 2 months, he had a heart attack and required surgery. You had bypass. He had something that required actually for him to stay in the hospital for yet another month. That's why we hadn't heard from him or more. And every little needle and every little Band-Aid and every little pill, his bill took all of the money he had, plus he still owed. So thinking that you're good, the reason why it is so important to listen to us and other people who talk about finances to help you understand where you really are, not where you think you are, not where you'd like to be, not where you're faking the funk and telling people you are, but understand and really on paper where you are, because then you can do what you need to do to get that foundation that you want of brick, not of straw, not of hay.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, we don't know who we're talking to. And we always offer free financial classes through we have a national organization, free financial classes. But I went on one of the classes the other day, and it was probably 10, 11,000 people, maybe 1% were Black. And probably, I'd say 97 were Asian, or of Asian country, Asian descent of some form. And maybe 3% other, and they were probably Asian too. A lot of Africans, so maybe, I count them in our 1%. When I first started with that company 12 years ago, it was worse than that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we would be in stadiums and I would look around and could not find another Black face, not on stage, not in the arena, except for whoever was with me. Oh, plenty of security, plenty of Black people in security. are selling hot dogs, menial jobs. I mean, you got to do what you got to do. I understand that. But none of them will come in, because they could come in and listen to how to make your money work for you, even when it's freaking free. Anyway, while we're spending all our time in those arenas, we are missing out on the greatest wealth transfer ever, that you cannot be stopped because of the color of your skin.
Thank you for joining us for part 1 of our conversation on fuel, called The Importance of Health to Your Wealth and to Your Future. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel at Fueling Future Generations, and also reach out to Dr. Jackie, Dennis, or Mac by going to Fueling Future Generations 2020 at gmail.com. We look forward to seeing you next time when we share part 2 of this message.